afternoon, everyone. So today's panel is all about Gen Z and how Saccos are getting ready for them. So my panel, kindly come up to the stage so that we may begin. As the panelists come on board, as we prepare for this discussion, remember we're all also Gen Z. Sometimes I feel bad that as a millennial, it's no longer the youngest group, but I still think we're all part of the Gen Z category. Okay. Yeah. Great, we're all here. Gentlemen, I think we'll start from Victor as we introduce ourselves. Give us a small introduction and probably how you think this discussion is going to go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Victor Siamba, and I'm here to add the value where I'm going to bring the perspective from the street. Maybe I'm the only guy who's not in tech here, although my background has been in technology from 1995. So I bring the word from the street, and let's see what other panels are also going to say.
All right, my name is Kelvin Ebole. I am the ICT and Business Innovations Manager at Safaricom Sacco Limited. And for me, what I bring here is the vision or the eyesight now behind the scenes. How do we build that which is favorable enough for the Gen Z category, having built products or services within a Sacco industry that actually addresses their problem areas. So I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Good evening. I think anything after 4 o'clock is evening, or good afternoon. Name is Joseph Mathangi. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Siriano. My only expertise in Gen Z is that I'm raising 2 teenagers. They have very clearly told me that as long as I'm talking about Facebook, I'm clearly not a Gen Z. So that is the expertise I bring.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Patrick Kiniti. I work at TechMax as a senior systems engineer. So I think this is a very interesting panel to be sitting in because it's talking about innovation and dealing with a generation that I've worked with very closely for the last like 5 or 6 years because I keep employing them. So I have a few insights about these guys, and I think Mike has really made my work very simple today because if you could just stand up just for a minute, I know you're a moderator. Actually, these are the thoughts I had in my mind, you know. They're the guys with tattoos, dreadlocks, piercings, and we'll be discussing more about them. Thank you for making our work easy today.
And I think that's the right place to kick off from. Not the tattoos and the piercings. But what exactly are Gen Z looking for when it comes to Sacco products? The elephant in the room, Safaricom Sacco. I feel today has been...
Okay, you know, when you look at the Gen Z and this generation of this lot of people who were born between 1997 and 2012, meaning that they were basically born in the internet age, what they understand most or what they speak is not technically technical, not technically financial freedom or what they want, but they want to speak based on what they see or what is actually buzzing or what is the trending item online. So when building for such, it's quite important that you first off understand that this is a group of people that have actually been classified as being antisocial, and the only place where they get the information is from the social age, from the internet. They will rather speak to a customer service in form of a chatbot as opposed to speak to you. They will rather transact on their mobile on a daily basis, but they will not come to the branch. When we speak about digital transformation and looking at these characteristics, it means that clearly that is where we are. And whether we like it or not, we are actually in the process of either slowly headed to a section where we need to develop for such kind of people. Now, when you're looking at this kind of groups of people, and this is from my experience again, I told you this is a group of members for us, in my case, who are critical of what you do. And for the developers who are here, I will tell you that they are the perfect lot to have as a test samples. If you want a group of members who are going to run tests for any product or services that you're rolling out, this is the perfect lot. Meaning that whatever it is that you're building then, you have to have all these in mind. Whatever I'm building, the financial service, is it a mobile app first off? It needs to be a mobile app. It needs to be something that is available over the net. Is it catchy? What services is it going to offer me? Is it available? I am a Gen Z customer and I need to get, I'm a Gen Z member and I need to order for my pizza at midnight. First off, is my application available? When I do order and the funds are available, is the Domino's also available? So basically, it's a different kind of scenario when you're looking at it. But again, you also need to look at it from that point, because in as much as most of the customers who are bringing money to your institution are probably the older generation, we are headed to a section where this particular Gen Z are the particular members who are going to be funding the organization going forward. So that is just basically my take.
Joseph, just to ask you, I know that Gen Z are coming up as probably now the next big place where financial institutions are going to break bank, Saccos included. Is there a change in the threat landscape? Are there new threats which are targeting Gen Zs, or are they more cyber resilient that we can sort of get our foot off the pedal when it comes to cyber security?
So cybercrime will transform under Gen Z, that's for sure. And part of that transformation and introduction of new threats is because it's a new way which Gen Z want to interact with banking services. Look, this is the guys who have grown up with a smartphone in their hand. These are the guys who have grown up with internet connected right to their house, to their bedrooms. These are guys who will put a huge premium on the digital experience because that's what they have grown up expecting. These are the guys who will interact with data protection as a requirement. These are the guys who will hold services providers and financial institutions to the question of, you are collecting my name, my national ID, my phone number, where I live, what are you doing with this data? Because data is now the new gold. You can trade with this data. The commodity is the individual. I think the new threat landscape and what we would need to address from a cybersecurity perspective is how do we protect, how do we collect just what we need to give them an excellent digital experience? As mentioned, they want to transact at midnight and buy pizza. They also want to know that you're not going to use that information to send them an SMS to tell them of a new promotion 3 days later when they don't care. That will, I think, be the new areas that Saccos will have to deal with. Not only are you digitally transforming to bring services to Simu Mkononi, but you have a higher level of expectation on how you give an excellent digital experience and not sell their data to the wrong person.
So quality of service.
Sorry, say that again?
Quality of service is really key.
Quality of service is key. Available all the time, available securely. Give them a great experience. Don't sell their data.
So Saccos beware, cancel culture is real. Victor, how do we attract Gen Z? And how do we retain them as the man on the ground for us?
I'll speak from my experience, not only in the financial sector, but also helping various organizations. From the time I started interacting with the IT, and it all comes down to almost three things. Because nothing has changed from the time I started using IT to date. And I've been more focused on creating user experiences and also helping other organizations, especially large organizations like the United Nations in Rwanda and Arusha, where I was very instrumental. Number one, simplicity. Many of you are familiar with the Liberty. It's an insurance company. Right now I'm helping them to simplify the message to the user. What is their USP to the user? Using terminologies is a big problem, and that's why most IT people have very good ideas, but they can't sell them. And that's why you're caught up in circles of looking for a better job. I know most of you are very happy that the global giants are coming here, but even your sons and daughters need that job. So simplicity is very key. Using jargon of technicalities and all that is not important. Most of us here, if you ask what is budgeting, most of us can't do it. So when you're going to sell a product and you are using terms like budgeting, costing, interest, that does not align with what the person wants on the street. Because I talked to my father yesterday. I think he's in this generation. Because he has a smartphone. He has all these apps on the phone. Where he borrows money, he plays. Yeah, he's gaming. Yeah. So I have two daughters who are over 20. One is 25. And they're also having the same conversation with my father. It is so simple. That is what, Niraisi, that's what he will tell you. So everyone wants that confirmation. And I think it would be so good for the chief information officers to make sure that they are also part of the product development. The days of sitting in the server room are gone. You need to be at the front desk because you are the chief information officer. And how do you make sure that whatever you're doing is valuable? And I've had a lot of conversation here that the board does not listen when you are presenting a budget. It's because you have no relevance. But if you tell them, I'm going to increase the number of users, and this is what will mean for the balance sheet of the organization, then they're going to listen. So you are the people to demystify, to make complex issues simple for the internal users and the external users. That is the members. Number two, be educative when you're making your product. Ask yourself, how educative am I? This generation, and I think it applies to everyone across board, we want to see that you are involved in educating us. Otherwise, you're going to allow other people, your competitors, to educate us. Because today I can claim and I'm an expert and I set up a blog and I give information. That's why there's a problem. There's a very slow uptake because someone is influencing that decision. You as the chief information officer, you are in charge of what goes out there. How many of us have been to Rwanda? Before 2008? After 2010, there's something that country has done, and it's part of what I did for the country, place branding. Learn to educate. If you want to win over anyone, educate. That's why even the colonizers had to set up libraries, schools. So it works. So educate your customer. And I think this generation is more focused on, is this person genuine with the information they're giving me before I buy into what they are trying to sell me?
Thank you.
And then I just have one last one.
All right.
The last element that I think is also very critical is what you are offering rewarding. This is a generation that is used to instant gratification. So if your product has no reward, every step of transaction has no reward behind it, then it's going to be a problem, because this generation only believes in one thing. Are you participating in their life events? They don't want instructions. They don't want the CEO type of seller. They want someone who onboards them and they have ownership in the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick, you painted an image of what a typical Gen Z person looks like. What's the technology that now the Saccos have to adopt to serve that Gen Z member?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. So I would look at it this way. I think where even before you talk about Sacco, if we look at the tech ecosystem, we are lacking the psychology or the cognitive science behind why human acts the way they do. So for me, I would look at it as a bigger tech problem, whereby tech companies and the Saccos and the guys in fintechs need to start to adapt other people in their panel, like behavioral scientists, to be involved in how we design a product. It looks a bit far-fetched, but I'm seeing people focusing so much on solving a problem using technology, but it could be a simple problem like, how do I understand how this person behaves, or why do you like tattoos? So maybe our user interface needs to have a very unconventional welcoming message for these guys to feel that they belong. So I feel that tech companies, we are really looking at tech as a stack, but we are forgetting that we need to bring in the cognitive aspect about it that would now help you to invoke. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, personally, I use one mobile app which is for a bank here, one of the Tier 1 banks. So the whole onboarding process was digital. I never went to any branch. And after that, it's revolutionary to me, because I'm like, the app has so many features that I can be able to adapt and use. And I've stumbled upon this thing on Instagram, okay? So I'm just trying to think, Saccos here, how many of you have Instagram accounts? Maybe you need to start there, because how do you get a Gen Z guy? You think he's going to come to that building, because if you look at their behaviors, they are more to style. I mean, you're a perfect representation. You're in kicks, we're in leather shoes. Man, that conversation is not happening, please. I don't know where these Saccos are. I'm not like throwing shade on them, but before you even go to tech, you understand their mindset. You're a good representation, you know? So this is a guy, why is he hanging out? Then how do I now, first of all, understand his mindset, and then now the tooling and how I automate it becomes like secondary to the main problem for them.
Okay, thank you.
So they should be on Instagram and the TikToks, and they're doing the videos, and these guys will be like, you know, I saw a financial partner who's going to help me take my holiday in Italy to enjoy some pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Just as we wind up, I can see Ian is already getting ready to kick us off the stage. Kelvin, back to you. I'd like to ask, how have you seen Gen Z reshaping financial products? Probably just give us an answer to that as you give us your closing remark.
Sure. Like I mentioned, and we've heard a lot, what this gentleman have said right here speaks a lot to what entails into bringing in the Gen Z category into your business. As a Sacco, how we've seen the Gen Z generation model or reshape, basically it goes back into the discussion of you have to change. You know, it goes back to the digital transformation conversation, because once you sit down, once you do what all these gentlemen have spoken about, and you sit back with, you go back to the ground, sit down with this particular group of people, understand how they exactly want their business to be done, how they exactly want to get the information. They prefer to get the information from Instagram. They prefer to do Twitter. They prefer to do TikTok. Probably that's how you sell. And when you try to look at this from an organizational point of view, then you'll be forced to adapt, try to make your business now aligned or to work to their ways of doing things. And when you look at this, try to marry it with the digital transformation agenda, it means that if by any chance I was doing my business, I was running my Sacco in such in a particular way, then I have to ensure that then I need to have my marketing team come in a bit stronger and be more active and proactive on Instagram, like you said. I may need to have 1 or 2 clowns in the office, maybe shoot 1 or 2 TikTok videos. I may need to do much more of chatbots. If my customers are always on WhatsApp, probably it's not the best of ideas to send them SMSs and emails. Probably it's best for me to engage with them on WhatsApp. And when you look at all these aspects, including on how you actually put and design your mobile applications, your tools, your internet banking platform, when you look at all this and you bring them together, you'll find yourself working on a digital product overall, or a digital business that speaks into this particular Gen Z or particular generation. And basically that is how we try to put at it, and that is how we try to look at it. In closing, basically my closing remarks will be, and like how I started off, this is a generation that we cannot overlook. Basically, yes, I know we have the old folks who have the money. Gen Z will actually rely on the old folks to get financial advice. But trust me, they'll not fully come to you, to your branches, to get that particular service. We cannot hide from this particular generation, meaning that when you're working your business, when you're working your Sacco, you need to ensure that you work your products and services to suit this particular generation, because in 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time, they are the ones who are going to be speaking about now the then Gen, maybe XA or the next one after Gen Z, Z/1 or something. So that will be my closing remarks. Thank you.
Joseph?
I think I want to recognize that Saccos are well on the path of incorporating Gen Z. Saccos have been going through a massive digital transformation over the past 5 years or so. They have opened up and expanded their membership. It's no longer restricted to one sector. It has opened up. They are playing on those digital platforms. There are multiple channels which you can interact with Saccos. So bottom line is, the tools are there. The direction is there. It's now a question of executing it all the way to its logical end. But I don't think for any stretch of the imagination that Saccos are behind. No, not at all. I think they will beat the traditional institutional banking because they are smaller. I think they're more agile. I think they have a much bigger motivation to grow. I'm fairly certain they'll grow faster than banks.
Thank you. Patrick?
Yeah, so I think these are interesting times, just like the fellow panelists have said, that the transformation journey has started. So I think it's for the Saccos to be more agile and to be able to adapt faster to technologies and also keep up with the trends. Because a few years ago, one Sacco who was also our customer tried to sign me up. They just sent me the forms, and that was an end for me, because I looked at the forms and I was like, I'm not gonna do this, So I think that transformation needs to be real. That can I approach a Sacco and just have a seamless digital process where I don't have to physically scan documents and put them on email? Can they have a portal where I can just go, put in all my details, and I'm signed up? But the opportunities are there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Victor, one closing sentence.
Mine will be on customer acquisition or member acquisition. I think that is the foundation of any Sacco. You need more members every day. So what you have to know is that new members, like the current ones who are using the phone and the internet, they are not searching for financial products. If you look at the Google keyword that they are using, they are basing their search on life events, travel, say buying a new car. So they are not searching for a financial product because there's too many on the market. So what they are looking for is something relevant to their life event. And that is my closing remark.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. We've come to the end of our panel. Probably something which a take home for all of us to consider. We have what traditionally we've had as the banked and the unbanked. Now we have something called the pre-banked Why wait until they're Gen Z to onboard them? I'm sure there are tools and other things that could be built because Gen Z are about loyalty and brand. So that's something to take home and think about. Thank you.